Hey there, and welcome to Weapon Refine Ideas. In this series I take a look at the newly announced Weapon Refine update and give my impressions on how each of the characters are doing and what they might get for their refine. To start things off, I'll be having a look at the state of refines just to see how far along we've come with refines and who might get them next. I do hope you enjoy the video, and without further ado, let's get started. To start things off, let's have a look at the Book 2 units. We've gotten through quite a few of them already, and this is what's left. I've colour coded them according to the grid below, and as you can see, we don't have too many left now. And a lot of these can be done quite quickly, considering the fact that usually accompanying a legendary remix, we get 2 legendary hero refines alongside the regular 4 or 5 that we get in a regular update. They seem to be going through Grand Hero battles and Tempest Trials in order, so we're likely to get another one of those this coming month. Again, they seem to skip Canas and go straight to Walhart, which is very suspicious, but I guess they've got to break the pattern every now and then just to keep things surprising. I do pity Canas fans though, because we even got a Linus refine, which no one expected, I don't think. But yeah, who do you think's going to get a refine next from Book 2? I mean, they are the primary pool at the moment, given that we seem to get 3 out of 4 from this bunch, if not 1 from the seasonal batch. So please tell me down below who you're excited to see. The same can't really be said for Book 3, in fact it could be quite the opposite. Even colour coding these units, it's hard to really guess who might be next. The only pattern that really exists with this bunch so far are the Grand Hero and Tempest Trial refines, which seem to be going in order, roughly. They've only just broken that pattern, but they'll probably get back on it soon. And Legendary Remix for Azura implies she'll also get a refine, Legendary Azura that is. So tell me below who you think might get a refine next, but it's very hard to guess exactly who might be coming up first. In complete contrast to Book 3, we have Book 1 and 2 seasonals. Not only have these seasonal refines been going in order of release, but they've only been given to units that already have preference weapons, and of course don't have dancing skills. That's always why I note whether the character is a dancer, because currently no characters with dance have ever gotten a refine, not even in Book 1. So it's quite safe to assume that Halloween Mer, who I've kept forgetting to put a marker on across all these videos, she should be the next unit that gets a refine, and past her, who knows? It really is anyone's guess what they'll do with seasonals. However, currently they are the most predictable pattern that has not yet been broken, other than occasionally delaying when they give the refine, but the pattern still remains. The first unit we're going to have a look at today is Summer Young Tiki. Now she's always been a very unique unit, as one of the only flying dragons, but also, back when she was released, her weapon was also very unique. Being effective against dragons was one thing, but having steady breath built into the weapon was quite groundbreaking at the time. Now with steady breath being a sacred seal, that time's long past. But at the same time, with a refine, she now has an opportunity to re-enter the relevance of Fae as a really effective enemy phase unit. Now while her base kit is outdated, the way to build her nowadays would be something like Distant Counter, so she can counter more threats. Dragon's Wrath and the Rain skills help her bulk and her damage, and overall just synergize with that main weapon. Now in order to make her better, I decided to give her some more stats on some easy conditions, and also for the main refine effect, a 30% healing type effect, much like Halloween Female Grima, just so she has some more sustain, so she can take down more enemies in one turn. But yeah, nothing much else to really say about her. If you have her, please tell me about how you've built her in the comments, and say what you think of this refine. I don't have much experience with this unit, so I sort of try to come up with a very generalist refine that can work regardless of where you have her in merges and builds. Something that sticks with the original effect. Next up we have Nailah. Now Nailah is an incredibly versatile unit that can be built in a variety of different ways, and with a really strong base kit, Distant Counter, Null Sea Disrupt, and a preference skill, Glare, which isn't the most amazing preference skill in the game, but nonetheless, she has almost little need to change any of these skills. the way I built her was in synergy with her weapon, which gives her more attack and speed and a Woe Dao effect. So with this idea of true damage, I tried to combo this with Blue Flame and Null Follow-Up in order for her to almost guarantee a proc of 35 true damage every combat. Now there are so many different ways you can build Nailah. Please tell me below how you built her. I don't have much experience myself with the unit, so I'll be interested to see what you will do. But again, very good unit, very good stats, not much else to say there. For her refine, I refined her effects to make it more like how Bridal Tharja was upgraded, but instead of making the attack the versatile changing stat, I made speed the one that changes, so you can get up to 9 additional speed depending on how many allies are within 3 spaces, and she retains the ability to transform, get the 2 attack and Woe Dao effect. Overall just a really strong weapon already. And then I decided to give her Null Follow-Up for the refine, so she can combo that with her Null Sea Disrupt, so that she again reduces her weaknesses more and more, allowing her to take down a more diverse amount of opponents. And with characters like Fallen Edelgard, Null Follow-Up is becoming increasingly useful to tackle modern threats. And then of course we've got a attack speed menace skill. This is just to increase her ability to naturally double opponents, especially with that Null Follow-Up effect. All sorts of things to improve her damage, her speed, all across the board. A really solid unit, and I'm excited to see what they do for her. Here we have Walhart. Now Walhart's stats, skills and weapon have not aged well at all over the years, and in fact even when he came out he was quite underwhelming. In order to make him useful, I've had to highly invest in his speed and put things like Surge Sparrow and Near Trace and a Menace skill and even that ninja weapon from Ninja Hana in order to make him just about viable in today's world. And the reason why he's not as good is because his speed and res are both naturally very low and his weapon is very fiddly to activate. So for his refine, what I've done is I've made the plus all stats from 4 to 5, and I've also neutralized the foe's bonuses, which again overall gives him more damage, speed and bulk. And I've also made the claws much easier to fulfill, so rather than it being counting up the amount of enemies and allies nearby, it's simply just not being adjacent to an ally activates both of these things. This also goes for his refine effect. Again, if he's not adjacent to an ally, he gets to inflict stats this time on the foe, attack, speed and death. This is essentially like giving plus 5 tool stats to himself, because he reduces the damage he takes, he increases the amount of damage he does, and he makes it easier to naturally double. And then if he's got high HP as well, he gets a guaranteed follow-up attack. It's like a slow staircase of skills depending on how many conditions you're able to fulfill, but I try to make them as easy as possible. This refine synergizes really well with Surge Sparrow, because then he can preserve that HP while he's initiating, and then he's on his own, ready to tank on enemy face. So overall a really solid but simple refine, and I hope they do something similar or better for Walhart, just to bring those outdated stats more up to date and help him fight modern foes. Carrying on the trend of outdated 2018 units, next we have Libra. Now aside from having outdated skills and stats, Libra also falls into the highly saturated Axe Infantry category. There are a lot of later higher scoring units like Ninja Shamir, Leafis, and even 3 and 4 star units like Ross and Echidna that people would choose over Libra for the easier investment and bigger payoff early on. Libra on the other hand needs 20 Dragon Flowers to stand up to any of these, and that's a high cost for a unit that is so easily available in other forms. So in order to make him better, I gave him a refine that is unique and something that other characters can't replicate. So the plus 10 damage comes with his base weapon, so I thought it would be nice to transfer this over to his preference weapon. And I also took inspiration from Gangrel's Levin Dagger, given the theme is a shock axe, but Libra has his own personal version. I've also gone with easy activation for the refine effect, being within 2 spaces of an ally, That bodes well with his spur skill in the C slot, which he'll probably replace anyway, but being within 2 spaces of an ally is very easy and suits the playstyle of an infantry axe very well. The +4 across the board as a drive skill, joint drive, so both you and your ally get it. And then the miracle effect's just a reference to what he comes with in Awakening, being Miracle. So yeah, hopefully something like this will happen. It's hard to come up with what shock weapons can have without making them incredibly different to how normal axes work. So I think copying Gangle's Levin Dagger to a degree is a safe way of guessing what Libra's weapon might follow. Then again, the activation via penalty might be changed. I just left that there as a sort of reference to how Gangle's weapon works, but they might change that. Finally, we have Loki. Now, Loki was one of the first staff users in the game to have a preference weapon, and as such has a pretty interesting effect. Having Wrathful Staff built in was already rather useful, but kind of expected given that all staffs could be refined at that stage to have Wrathful Staff. The main effect is inflicting gravity within cardinal directions to specific foes if they have 3 or less of a difference between your HP and theirs. So a lot of, much like Walhart, a lot of finicky effects. Again, this is before Book 3 where they really amped up the ease of use of characters, but also how powerful they were. So we can probably expect quite a big jump for a 5-star exclusive like Loki in terms of how effective the weapon is. The build, I've pretty much just updated what the original one was. Rather than an inconsistent attack wave buff, we've got a menace skill which almost always activates. Kind of suits the theme of the character to be menacing and inflict penalties at the start of the turn. I've got a bigger, better infantry dual skill which gives her more HP. Or the same, I can't remember if it's +5 for the old, but I think it is actually. But we also get some more stats that help her double. A simple healer build. And then all I did for the refine was make the condition easier and affect more more enemies in a wider field of effectiveness. Again, fitting the theme of making effects easier and more powerful, and more versatile really, helping her with more matchups. This character will actually really help a lot with Fallen Edelgard, since slowing down Fallen Edelgard's approach can help you position better in order to counter. It's funny how units have to be almost designed around that play now. And then the refine effect's very simple. If there's a penalty on the foe, which the weapon does itself, then you get a little bit of extra. And that brings me to the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you all found this enjoyable and useful in some way. I'd love to hear your ideas in the comments about how to build these characters and what their refines might be. I'm always really interested to see how other people build characters, especially ones like Walhart and Libra, whose stat lines don't really indicate a particular usage. So please tell me all about that in the comments. I hope you're all doing really well, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye for now.